Hey, hey, welcome to Live with Lynn. So if you're here, say hi. If you're watching the replay, be sure to type replay so I know you were here. I'm Lynn Huber, and I appreciate you being here today. So today I'm going to talk about fundamentals of living victoriously. You know, your ability to achieve your goals and live the life that you want depends on knowing the basics of living a victorious life. When you know what you need to do and what you ought to avoid doing, can really help you go as far as your imagination can take you. So you can bring your vision to life and you'll be able to remain focused on working towards your dreams, even during chaos and criticisms. You know, Colonel Harlan Sanders did not become a multimillionaire without experiencing setbacks, disappointments, and failures in life. Have you heard his story? I mean, his real story? Gosh, one of the main things that enabled him to live victoriously was the fact that he knew the fundamentals of victorious living and chose to adopt them into his own life. Colonel Sanders' circumstances forced him to begin taking care of his siblings together with his mother when he was only 7. So, he was only 7 and he had to start taking care of his brothers and sisters, right? By 14, he got a job as a farm worker and he continued taking odd jobs throughout his life just to survive. At one point, Sanders owned a motel and a restaurant during the late years of his life, and then both of those businesses were destroyed by a fire. I bet you didn't know all this about him, did you? I mean, he had so many challenges, and despite his numerous failures and harsh conditions, he never gave up. He knew that he had to keep going. He had to be successful, right? He kept going because he knew what victorious living is all about. And he knew that if he kept going, in spite of everything, he would eventually reach his dreams. Things began to look up when he discovered the famous chicken recipe that's globally known as Kentucky Fried Chicken, or today it's KFC, right? When he was 50 years old, that's when he discovered it. So really his success didn't start even until he was 50. And even then it was quite a challenge and he went through a lot of setbacks and challenges then. But now his name, his symbol, his legacy, they remain decades after his death. He's created quite a legacy. J.K. Rowling has a quote that really speaks to me. I mean, she says, "It's impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you've failed by default." Wow, I mean, that's pretty profound, right? It's impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you've failed by default. J.K. Rowling had a ton of challenges and setbacks too, and, a lot. And then before she finally became wildly successful with Harry Potter. So she knows what she's talking about. Hi, Anitra. Good afternoon. Glad to see you're here. So mastering the art of living victoriously is the only way that you're going to reach your goals. It's how you're going to be victorious, right? You have to live that way, and that's how you're going to be there. And one of the main reasons that you still haven't brought some of your most cherished ideas to life is that you probably haven't yet mastered the art of living like a victor. And once you do, accomplishing your goals will be a lot more likely, a lot more. You're going to accomplish so much more. So let's look at some effective ways of living triumphantly. So the first one is embrace challenges, right? Embracing challenges, tests, or trials, it's a great way of realizing that your potential and knowing how far you can go. Some of the world's most successful people are people who kept going despite discouraging conditions, and they made their most significant breakthroughs by moving from one failure to another. When you look at some of the most successful people, you're going to find that a lot of them, their stories are failure after failure after failure, and they went through so much, and they climbed through, and they went around, and they dug under. They found a way, and then they became successful, right? Living your truth. Living your truth means living out your life the way you know you were meant to. Doing what you're supposed to do. Sticking to your vision and refusing to live your life the way other people think that you should be. Living your truth is probably the first principle of living victoriously. And without a doubt, it's the only foundation for a triumphant life. Because if you're not living your principle, if you're not looking, I talk about the North Star, right? If you don't have your North Star and it's not guiding you, then you're not ever going to be happy. You're not ever going to be fulfilled, right? Believing in your ability to succeed. This is huge. This is huge. Oh man, I'm not qualified to do this. I'm not smart enough. Only a genius can achieve this. This wasn't meant for me. I guess I just wasn't cut out for this. Gosh, you guys, the minute you find yourself harboring these kinds of thoughts is the minute you can forget about accomplishing anything worthwhile. Your ability to achieve your dreams depends on whether or not you believe in yourself. You have to trust that you can succeed and then work on improving your skills or your talents to help you get there. Yeah, you might not have what it takes right now because you might have to learn something, right? But you have the ability to be successful. You just have to figure out what it's going to take and go after it. So if you've been doubting yourself lately, shift your mindset and start believing in your ability to succeed. Anitra says, I felt that way. We all have, Anitra, all of us. We all feel that way from time to time, but that's what personal growth is all about. It's about catching yourself doing these things and changing them, right? So changing your perspective. Victors know the importance of changing their viewpoint when things don't turn out the way that they'd hoped. Instead of dwelling on, I have failed too many times to keep trying, focus on, I now know what I have to avoid to making that mistake twice, right? Your outlook on life, the way you view your situation, as well as the way you react to negative compliments, matters if you're going to start living triumphantly. The kind of advice you take and the kind of people you choose to listen to both have an impact on the way you live your everyday life. So choose wisely. Listen to the right people. Don't accept if somebody tells you something that's not right, don't accept it. If you know that that's not right or it's not right for you, just say, hey, thanks for your feedback. And that doesn't mean you have to accept it, right? Constantly seeking ways of improving yourself. Living a triumphant life is not just limited to knowing the basics of living victoriously. It extends to doing what you must do so that you can live a life of victory. That means improving yourself academically, professionally, and repeatedly expanding your knowledge so that you can learn the best ways of tackling your goals and avoiding mistakes, all the mistakes that you can easily make along the way, right? And so learning really helps you because you won't have to make as many mistakes. You're still going to make mistakes, but maybe you'll make different, more productive ones, right? So your belief is about what you can accomplish. Your belief about it is the center of your victory. It absolutely. What it takes is setting your mind to win, develop a positive mind, a mind that believes in winning at all costs, and a mind that believes you can do this. Affirm your victory by declaring that you have a winner's mindset and that you can do anything that you set your mind to. Seriously, it's up to you. You've got this. Just declare it and go after it. So, hey, now I'd love to hear from you. Do you believe that you and you alone control whether you achieve that victory? What kinds of things help you to remember that you are in control and to stay the path and that you can do this? And what kinds of things help you to remember that you have to believe in you, right? Please share your thoughts with us in the comments below. I would love to hear your stories. Thank you, Anitra, for being live with me today, and anyone else who might be live but who just hasn't commented, and anyone who's watching the replay. I appreciate you. So go out there and have an amazing day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.